morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Paul Wallace. I'm a trader and a coach, and I am the founder of the London Traders Network. This morning, ladies and gentlemen, Moose, in his infinite wisdom, has decided to sort of unleash me on my own to sort of talk about my view on the market. So let's go on with this, and it'll either be fantastic or a debacle, but I'm sure it'll all be entertaining nonetheless. So I sort of thought I'd decide to call this Autumn Chills and Winter is Coming. And why was that of interest? Well, seasonally we are autumn and coming into winter, but also I think within terms of markets we're heading towards a winter period. And what I have here is a couple of charts. So on the top we've got Facebook on the weekly chart, and on the bottom I've got the NASDAQ on the weekly chart. Okay, so just line them up against each other. You'll be pleased to know that I'm a better trader than I am a PowerPoint specialist, but you get the idea from what we're looking at here. Okay, we can see that Facebook was in that beautiful uptrend, okay, for a few years there. Then invariably the sort of the wheels came off there just a couple of months ago, back in the summer. When I was back here back in, I think during the summer in July, then we talked about, I was Facebook coming back to that trend line. Wanted to see how it reacted. If it broke and fell, then invariably, that would indicate, for me, that actually, I just wanted to be short Facebook. And what we've seen is effectively the same on the NASDAQ. And I was reading just yesterday about how the vast majority of those big five FANG tech stocks, okay, so we've got, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Alphabet, the sort of head company of Google. I think they've lost over $1 trillion themselves, just those five stocks, okay, and that's reflected in the NASDAQ there as well. NASDAQ has broken that trend line. It's continued this week. That sort of selling has continued. My view is that, towards the end of this week, we go into the American holidays. The Americans get to enjoy their Thanksgiving and their Black Friday, and they invariably tend to come back the next week feeling good and a little bit bullish. And so I'll be interested to see whether that actually carries through into their trading patterns for early next week, or whether we get to see a continuation of that sort of that slide there at the moment. So moving on. One of the reasons I wanted to look at dollar Swiss franc on the weekly chart is because a lot of those tech companies, one of the biggest shareholders in them was the Swiss National Bank. What we saw was, during their own version of QE, that effectively, they created money electronically, and then they basically used that to buy shares in those sort of five tech stock companies. So if it is the SNB who's doing some of that liquidation, okay, in terms of their positions, well then, you might expect to see perhaps a some repatriation of those funds back to Switzerland, back into Swiss franc. But when I look at the sort of kind of dollar Swiss franc chart, I don't personally see that myself. We have banged up there about parity there, okay, a few times this year. What I'm looking at is last week, we pushed to sort of a new kind of yearly high there, but invariably we sort of we fell away, okay, and pitched a sort of a rejection candle there. So, I'm kind of interested to see is it a case that we're still waiting to see some of that repatriation back to Swiss franc, or is it a case of that that money's just being kept in dollar? We've had a strong dollar this year, and perhaps that's what's been running out. But certainly the dollar Swiss franc chart doesn't sort of intimate that to me at the moment. So if we move on to the next chart here, okay, so what I have is this is Bitcoin against the US dollar on a weekly chart. So, lots of people, lots of those, let's say, crypto fans of cryptocurrencies were telling me that invariably, as we started to have problems in the indexes and the markets, that invariably cryptocurrencies would be the sort of the new safe haven, not things like gold and Swiss franc and yen. But if you were to look at the main daddy of cryptocurrency trading, Bitcoin against US dollar, that has not really been the case. When I was on here in the summer, I talked about how I saw this as a descending triangle that was forming on the weekly chart. I was looking at that kind of 6,000 level there as the support level, and I talked to Moose and to yourselves about how I needed to see a weekly close beneath that level. Okay, I was wary that it could be a bear trap there just forming. And what we got last week was, we got a good, strong weekly close beneath that 6,000 level. And this week, that selling has just continued. What I've drawn on there is normally under classical sort of technical analysis, when you'd have a descending triangle like that, you'd be taking a sort of from the support level up to the height of the triangle, and then projecting that forward from the breakout as a possible target. I'd talked to Moose and yourselves in the past about how if it did break, I thought $5,000 would be a first target, and then I looked maybe down to about $3,000 a target. Well, we sort of busted 5,000 on Monday, and we've continued selling. We had a little bit of a dead cat bounce yesterday, but it fascinates me that for me, if the selling continues, that could be down to sort of 3,000. That would effectively have halved in price from 6 to 3,000. That's quite some move. And I think I read there the other day that Bitcoin has already lost about 66% this year, and so that has only continued. So not much joy for the sort of crypto bulls. But moving on, there, we'll have a look at oil here, weekly charts. Okay, once again. What I've got here is that, I was here, I think, March, May, sort of July time. We were talking with Moose about oil, and I felt that, we'd been in a lovely uptrend there, okay, on oil, absolutely lovely uptrend. And but what I was expecting was, I thought that when I was here last, I thought we might actually see perhaps a sort of head and shoulders pattern forming, in which would give me more confidence of my sort of, let's say, longer term bearish view on oil. I think perhaps maybe you can see on the chart there's a little sort of arrow there, and that's, I think, when I was starting to get interested. Okay, that's what I would term as a bit of a weekly key reversal chart signal, which I also thought might just be the sort of the right shoulder of a head and shoulders, and so I was getting ready to go short. But as is often the case, what we think will happen will actually happen can quite often differ. And you can see there yourself that price actually pushed up to sort of those new highs. Clearly there was a beautiful sort of stop hunt there, and then invariably, price reversed that and prices collapsed. Okay, and what we've seen there, I see is down at that. It's around about kind of 54.65, 54.50. The weekly 200 period moving average is acting as a bit of nice dynamic support there at the moment. So I'm actually just going to be watching to see how does this play out, okay, over the next week or so. I'd say will this case be a sort of an element of a temporary support level, or will we actually sort of break through and follow through? In which case, I'd want to continue to be on the short side. So I think our final sort of chart is what we've got here is gold. This is gold on a daily chart, and with all of this, let's say these kind of winter chills that people are having with regards to some of the indices and some of the particular instruments that are popular trading instruments. You might be said, well, why hasn't gold exploded to the north side? If anything, when I was on here earlier this year, I was actually shorting gold, okay, and then what we had is, you can probably see there we had a nice bottom. We had a little bit of a move there, and we sort of tried to sort of hit that 1234, 1235 level. If you look on a weekly chart, okay, I've been talking about this on my own sessions, that the 1234, 1235 zone is where the weekly 200 period moving average is. And over the last month, there's been some lovely sort of false breakout trades as prices rallied up to there, reversed and fallen away. And what I actually now see is that, I see that now as a bit of it's a bit of an ascending triangle in a downtrend, okay? And so really for me, it needs to get up above 1235 on a weekly basis, hold above it for it to convince me that, it has the strength to move north, or alternatively, I look to see, will it break that supporting trend line to the south, in which case then I'll be looking for it to move down towards that double bottom. So final slide, okay, one of the reasons I'm here is, as I said, I'm the founder of the London Traders Network. I say it every time I come on, okay, that London Traders Network, okay, we run 6 socials a year, okay. The sort of November one is this evening. It's in the cellar bar of the New Moon pub in the Grace Church Street. It's in Leadenhall Market. Everybody's very welcome to sort of come along and sort of have a beer with your tribe, actually talk about your trades. Some of you will have seen that analysis that I've done there this morning. Some of you will think it's spot on. Some of you will think it's absolutely terrible, and you're more than welcome to actually come and have a chat with me, as I actually enjoy the debate, and that's what sharpens your sword as a trader. So thanks for joining me. Okay, I hope you found that useful and entertaining, and I look forward to either seeing you this evening or on my next time on Core Finance. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.